Yo, what's going on? This is another episode of Everything Is. This is your man's Kory, and I'm right here with...
It's your man's Ant P.
And yo, we got a very, very, very special edition of Everything Is today. We are going to talk about the role of the black athlete in the black community, or just in the community in general. And to have this talk, there was nobody else I could go ahead and facilitate this conversation with, none other than a guy who, for the past several years, I've just watched his movement and the things that he's done in the city of Detroit and the things he's done out of the city of Detroit. And it's a humbling honor to be able to talk to him. We're talking with Zeek of New Era Detroit. What is going on?
What up, though? How y'all feeling?
Pretty good. How about you, man?
Man, all is well, bro. All is well. Just busy and trying to stay focused. And, you know, man, it's a lot of work on the floor, you know?
Yeah, man. So tell the people a little bit about New Era Detroit and who may not be familiar.
So New Era Detroit, man, is a community-based organization, deep-rooted in black communities all across the world, for real. You know, our goal is to make sure that we stress organization. You know, we big on making sure that we're able to provide and supply programs, you know, to our communities for long-term sustainability. You know, when we talk about organizations, you know, we got thousands upon thousands of organizations, but we still can't define what organization looks like in black communities. And I feel like, you know, for us to be able to, you know, really work towards that, because that's a working thing. It's not something that's going to happen overnight.
And we got, just so you know, for everybody, we got Easy today on producing these. Easy said, breaking the mic up to you a little bit more.
No doubt.
It's been a little bit closer to me. We all good, Easy? Yes, sir. We back into it. So that is all great, man. I really appreciate you talking about that. So one thing I wanted to get on today, just to pop it off, was last week I was on a panel discussion with Western Carolina University. Shout out to my brother, Mr. David Kalanji. He brought me on a great panel, and it was a healthy discussion about the role of the black athlete in the 21st century. And first off, I didn't even think I belonged in that panel. Just to be quite honest, not putting myself lower or anything like that. I just didn't believe I belonged there, just because I have not been around. I've been around athletes who are doing work in the community, but not as much as other people. But I've seen you on several occasions out in the community. I was actually did some photography work on behalf of the Michigan Chronicle and President Pro Tem Mary Sheffield, when you guys were doing your work in the city with Rasheed, Wallace, Steven Jackson. And first off, can you just talk about that experience of working with Rasheed and Steven Jackson in the community for the Give Back efforts?
I just think that it's real. Like, everything that we do is organic and authentic. So my first time even, you know, running into Rasheed, we was up in Flint. This had to be like 2015.
Oh yeah, right around that crisis.
And he was up in Flint. You know, he had his own thing going up there, man. You know, they had Waters, and he was doing his thing. She'd always one of them type of people, man, who've been doing this for quite some time, man. So, you know, he a real humble brother, and he just go out and do the work. And that's what he was doing out in Flint that day. And he seen us out in Flint. You know, we spent a lot of time, a lot of man hours out in Flint. You know, we were one of the first organizations out on the ground, you know, from the city of Detroit, for sure, man, because it's good people, organizers in Flint, who was on the ground immediately. But we were right there after that, man, and we had a bunch of people from all over the country, man, coming in. And, you know, we were out there a couple hundred deep, and, you know, we had semi-trucks, and, you know, we were coming up the block, and she was just like, who are these people? You know what I mean? Doing it like this. And he tapped in with us, man, and the rest is history. You know, we've been able to partner up on, you know, a lot of different things since then, man. So, you know, just being able to do the work and meet, you know what I mean? It's not because, you know, we the most popular, we got the most followers.
Right.
Because, you know, real people was able to see real people do real work and want to be connected to them. So that's how all my relationships work.
How did it feel, you know, just as a black man in Detroit, and, you know, pretty sure, you know, I know you're a sports fan, just growing up and seeing all these athletes that you watched growing up come back to your city or communities for people that look and represent you. What was that moment like to see those athletes come back and put the work in firsthand?
It's just real. You know, we live in a time, I always tell people, like, right now we live in a time to where it's very easy to see, you know, the people who just do it, you know, for the cameras, and the people who do it authentically. You know, I'm big on energy. So, you know, if you got true energy and you for real with this, because we for real with this, you know, this is what I do for a living. This is my life. And I take everything, you know, that I do serious, and I take the work of the people in the community very serious. So, you know, there has been people that I've rubbed shoulders with of celebrity status, who I felt wasn't really authentic about that work, and we really don't do business with it, but with those type of people. But when people come and, you know, they authentic and they cut from where, you know, what you cut from, and, you know, they from the area of where you from, so they got a special type of connection, you know, to the people, that motivates them and moves them to want to, you know, do real work, man, you know, in the community. It's real dope. So that's kind of, you know, my connection to Sheed, and from Sheed, you know, he introduced me to Steven Jackson in 2016. He actually had him out for a Flint drive. So, you know, me and Steven, we've been, you know, tapped in since 2016 as well. So, you know,
yeah, I see y'all been. Y'all just over the. I didn't know y'all were tapped in that long, but I just know over the past year, I've seen you guys do a lot more work. I'm like, man, y'all are really out there on the streets, like on the foot, like putting in work. Like when I believe it was in Detroit, you guys had a big semi truck, and you guys were on the west side, and I mean the block was rocking. It was hot as hell outside, but you couldn't tell it was hot, and couldn't tell people was out there thirsty, because y'all was out there just doing the work, knocking on doors, greeting people, providing them with amenities and supplies, and it was just a really beautiful sight to see.
Yeah, respect, man.
So, big question for me. A lot of people, you know, actually, you know what, I'm gonna take it back like this. Mm-hmm. So I was on the show early, one of our morning shows, and we were talking about, you know, Brett Favre's issue with this is a touchy subject, but Brett Favre's issue with players kneeling for the anthem, said that he felt that it creates more. He said he thinks it creates more division. Some of my co-hosts on the show, they felt that the Black Lives Matter and all the messages on the back of the jerseys did not really create any type of a message. They felt that there needs to be more action. Now me, I was of the mindset, like, I don't care whether you put something on the back of your shirt or not. If that's how you want to bring awareness, cool. If that's how you don't. In what way do you feel about different groups that are not from our community policing how black athletes show bring out their awareness?
You know, honestly, it's none of their business. You know what I mean? This is, you know, what we call family business. You know what I mean? How we react to issues that involves us and our people in our communities, that's how we react. You know, Brett Favre ain't never spent no time in the hood. He ain't grew up in no conditions with the odds all against him. He don't know that lifestyle. So therefore, if you don't know, you know, you should be the least or the last to judge. And sometimes, you know, we just got to draw that line, and that's, you know, it's okay for us to have different type of, you know, ways that we move and what we believe in and all the rest of that stuff. It's okay to have that, man, and it's okay to be different. You know, everybody don't have to be invited to everything. You feel me? I feel like that's our biggest problem as people is, you know, we always looking, you know, for somebody else's opinion. You know, when our reality, it doesn't matter. You know, whatever Brett Favre said, you know, it doesn't matter, you know, to the lives of, you know, these black men and women who die in our streets, you know, on a day in and a day out basis. That has nothing to do with him. You know, he probably would never have no story like that to tell, you know, from nobody in his family, or don't even know nobody who's been involved in that type of stuff from where he come from. So, you know, for him to even have an opinion on how somebody else want to, you know, express their pain or, you know, show their love and support for a movement, is just, you know, invalid.
Yeah, it's just like, you know, you're not qualified to speak on
Not at all.
what's going on with us and everything. I do got a question for you though, bro. So what made you like get into what you're doing now? Like what sparked that for you?
Break us a little bit more too.
For real, man, what sparked that was just, you know, the need to want to do something. Of course, I never thought that, you know, I would be going this strong in it. But the more that you get involved with the work in the community, the more that you see a constant need for it. And my thing is, you know, once again, and there's no knock to other organizations, but it's just like, you know, how are we in the same situation that we've been in for the past, you know, 30, 40, 50, 60 years, and we still going through the same things? You know, all of these big name people, you know, you got the Al Sharptons, the Jesse Jacksons, you know, you see, you know, these same people every time something happen. And it's okay to be outraged about things when things happen, but where's the action? You know, where's the plan of action? Where's the continued progression when things happen in our community? And if we don't have a plan of action, or we don't have anything that's consistent that we can build upon, you know, and pass down for generations to come so that we can better our situation. This is about us being able to put ourselves in a situation where we're able to better ourselves in our situation. We don't have to look around to the rest of the world, you know, in those regards. We really got to look at ourselves and look at the things that happen, you know, in our communities, the way that we move in our communities, how we harm our own selves in our communities. You know, it's a big picture with that, and that's really family business. So, you know, with me, it was just seeing the need, man. You know, I wanted to do something, and that's something, you know, turned into just getting out in the community and wanting to organize. So we held meetings once a week, and, you know, we started to dig and do a lot of research. And so, you know, we sat for, you know, a few months just on some research and meetings, and then we was just ready to get out into the community. And so from there, it's just been on and running, and it's just been growing and growing and growing from there. People seeing what we've been doing here in Detroit, and felt the need for it in Chicago, and so on and so on. So we in 15 different cities in 2 countries right now doing this work.
Ooh. That's fire, dog. That is incredible. And it's just how all that just blossomed to where we at now. You know, that's fire, dog. It's very inspirational.
And so if you guys are just now tuning in, this is the Everything Is show on the Woodward Sports Network. Kory here with my man Ant, and of course we got Zeek from New York, Detroit. And so I want to pivot into the real meat potatoes of this. So again, you've worked with athletes of doing community give backs and just getting in a mix of things. Where, in your opinion, just from your opinion, from what you would like to see, what more would you like to see from black athletes as far as giving back to the community and their philanthropic efforts? I know you're not trying to count nobody's pockets or nothing like that, but what would you like to see more from them?
I don't never count nobody's pockets. That's one thing I don't do. You know, because I feel like you never know what other people are going through. But, you know, my big thing is just be authentic about it. You know what I mean? You know, just because you're in a different situation, and you may feel that certain things don't affect you, you know, the way that they may have affected you when you know, were in a situation maybe to where you weren't as privileged as you are now. You know, my thing is just be authentic about it. You know, like, if you for real about wanting to see the black community be in a better position, you know, get with real organizations and get with real people on the ground. Hey, man, we know that you moved out the hood. You got a nice crib somewhere in the suburbs now. You know, it's no knock on that. But my thing is, if you for real are serious about wanting to help black communities, you know, figure out the real organizations that's on the ground. Don't just do what, you know, these companies and corporations tell you to do. You know, people jumped on Black Lives Matter before people don't even know what Black Lives Matter is or what it stands for.
That's real shit.
You know, sometimes, and it's just like, okay, well, this is the big thing to do. So, you know, I'm going to donate to them, or I'm going to support them. And there's people on the ground, man, you know, working day in and day out in the community, in the trenches, you know, and I feel like the real athletes, you know, make it a point to find those people and build a connection and build a relationship with those people. You know, that's where it comes from with us, man. Like, if you serious, you know about New Era Detroit. You can't say you're not, especially if you in the black community got anything to do with Detroit and don't know anything about this organization and the work that we do. We are the #1 community organization in the city of Detroit. We have 16 community programs that operate 365 days a year. You know, everything from our food program, our Tangi's Ride program, which is a program we've been able to independently feed over 100,000 families here in the city of Detroit. We got a political education program, financial literacy program. We have programs for self-defense, free self-defense classes for women and kids, you know, just to get them, you know, kind of in a position to defend themselves and be prepared. You know, abductions and human trafficking, that's real in our community. If we can't talk about those problems too as well with everything else and work on fixing them either, then we not a part. We can't continue to lose babies. Every time you turn on the news, somebody missing, some kids missing, somebody been snatched up. So we got to teach people how to defend themselves. So we got that program too as well, man. So we do a lot of stuff in the communities, man. So if people are paying attention or really want to care about what's going on in black communities, you would get with not, it don't have to be new era, it don't have to be new era, but make it an effort to check in with the people that's really doing the work in the community, and get them some financial support, because most of the time they got the work, they doing the work. I don't know how much money some of these organizations are getting, but when we go through the communities, I go through the hoods and ghettos of America, and we don't see nothing that's changing in our communities. So where's all of this funding that's supposed to be going to black communities going? All of this money that these athletes supposed to be donating to the community, where is it going? Because it's not showing up in credit in the hoods, man, and that's a fact. So just get with communities. If you real about your community and you from that way, you know who doing what in your city. So just check in with them.
Yeah, man. I one thing that really rubbed me the wrong way, and I know, and we talked about this before, was last year when Jay-Z did the deal with the NFL. And I ain't gonna knock him on the entertainment side of it, but when they went ahead and started doing the give backs, I believe they gave back to one program in Chicago that had some young brothers cutting off their hair. They were saying it was better in their image, and to the point I'm trying to get at is, I feel like a lot of these athletes in these organizations, they do exactly what you said. They give back, but they give back to the companies that they're instructed to give to, not the ones that they actually go out and research.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's just
and that's what I really don't respect. That's really one of the biggest issues when it comes to a lot of the athletes, because a lot of athletes are affected by this. You know what I mean? I believe LeBron when he moved away, he moved when things happen in our community. I don't think that he comes from a place of being fake or nothing like that. But I truly believe the brother, if he knew and had an understanding of the things that's truly going on in our community and the people that's truly working to change those things, he would make a better effort to tap in a bit more to the communities of the organizations, and the organizations of the community, in order to better off help the real solution, the real problems in our community, come up with some real solutions.
Now, along that same line, there are some athletes who say, hey, I just hoop, or I just play football, I'm not a role model. Do you think that's a cop-out?
People have been doing that forever, man. You got your people who, my thing is just don't be fake with it. You know what I mean? This is my thing is, if that's what you are and what it is, then that's what you are, man. You stay on that side with it. But don't have that mentality and have anything to say. You know what I mean? Don't have that mentality and then fake care and concern, have fake care and concern about what's going on in our communities. If that's where you stand on things, you're not a role model, you just here to get your bread. I know plenty of people like that, regardless of being athletes or not. Just regular people who think like that. So if that's your stance, just stand over there and just stand out the way. Don't get in the way. That's the thing. Like, just stay out the way with your mindset and mentality, and let the people who really care, put the work in, and don't have nothing to say or don't get in our way. That's the thing. And
that's always been an issue with me with some athletes. They'll be quiet on certain things, and here they come because they see a photo op or something like that, or it's a popular thing to talk about. Here they come saying, putting their 2 cents in, but it's like, bro, where were you at? Saying, like, in the neighborhoods, where were you at for that? So it's a bunch of bullshit.
Yeah.
Super bullshit.
So, we've talked about these athletes and their role in the community and what you would like to see. Is there anything that you have coming up in as far as New Era Detroit and anything with anybody else in the near future?
We always working, man. Like, I'm telling you, like, this is especially around this time when the spring hit and the summer hit, man. We in the communities every week. Like I said, working one of our programs just last week. On the past 2 weeks, we had our political education class. We do we teach the community about health and wellness in regards to vegan food, and not just regular vegan, but just like how to cook like vegan food that tastes like the real deal food, man. We do those segments to actually teach that, because you know, while there are a lot of vegan restaurants, it's still not prevalent that much in the hoods. I mean, it's not a lot of vegan spots in the hoods, and if it is, you know, they close super early. So, you know, what we left with, if we want to change our lifestyle, we kind of got to, you know, learn how to cook those things. And that's something that we got to teach a whole nother generation of, a different way how to cook. So we do those cooking segments. Like I said, we always out in the community, feeding the community. So that's something that we do on a regular. We also have Buy Black tours, where we do a lot to support different black businesses. This Saturday, actually today, we have our financial literacy program.
Nice.
So yeah, man, that's something that's big too, man. We gotta have an understanding of credit, man, and how to, you know, leverage credit, and you know, we just gotta to get on our job, man. You know, when we look at everything that's going on in our communities, and you know, if you think a rally and a protest is where it stops, that's the problem with us right now. It's like everybody sit around waiting for the next dramatic thing to happen before they get actively involved in the community. And it's like, bro, we got work to do every day. We have to change the mindset and mentality that was put into us systematically. You know, that's the one thing that when you talk about a person like Brett Favre, he has no understanding of the systematic things that we have encountered through generations and generations, who make us who we are and make us react how we react. And you know, you have no understanding about that. So why would you even speak on it and talk about division? This country has always been divided.
I think
I hated the timing of it too. We're in the middle of the Derek Chauvin, not the George Floyd trial, the Derek Chauvin trial, and he chooses this week to make that comment. I thought that was just tone deaf.
And I think what irritates me the most about that shit is always talking about something. They always like, you know, dividing the country. You know, when you do this and when you kneeling for the flag and everything else, it's just like, bro, like you don't see what the fuck is going on right now. It's ridiculous.
And it's like, don't even get mad about it anymore. Like it is what it is. Like we know. We should know the America that we live in now. So it's like, we not getting mad about it. We move accordingly. We know what you're gonna do. We know what you're gonna say. We know that. So we don't have to get out and get upset about things that we know anymore. The thing that we need to do is work on. If we know that's just like if you're playing chess and you know the moves that your opponent is going to make. Are you just going to sit there and complain about the moves that he makes? Or are you going to develop a strategy to move around those moves? So, that's really where we at right now, man.
Yeah, just keep getting mad over the same shit, because they're going to continue to do the same shit. Like, you know, just always, they always going to play stupid, or, you know, just not trying to hear your side of the story, and just try to say, like, you know, you disrespecting the flag and all the veterans and all this other stuff, man. I ain't trying to hear that shit, man. I ain't trying to hear that shit.
Y'all can get mad about that. We trying to focus on these babies that's coming up in our community and
trying to make a better life for them.
That's right.
What do you even think of before we pivot? What do you even think about the fact that they require all athletes to even stand and salute for the flag, and it's like a lot of us, we don't feel that the flag represents us.
Right. Once again, man, that goes back to organization. I feel like if more athletes come together and say that we're not doing this, or we have a problem with this, and you know, these are issues and y'all need to hear our issues, and we need to come together and work and figure out a solution to make both parties happen. But you know, our biggest problem is we don't stick together enough. You know what I mean? You'll have some athletes who gonna hold it down, and then we'll have the ones that you just talked about. It's just like, I'm just here to get a check. I'm nobody's role model. So, you know, if more of us, because when you talk about sports, and especially you talk about football and basketball, you know, we dominate those sports. So, you know, if
75%,
absolutely. So, if black players want to come out and make a real stance, they can do that. You know what I mean? They can do that. They can affect money. They can affect change. And I feel like we've seen bits and sparks and pieces of it, but I feel like, you know, it needs to be a lot more, and it needs to be organized. It don't need to be something that you telling everybody, you know, all the brothers, or, you know, they should get together and they should talk about these things and move strategically.
Amen to that. So let's have a little bit of fun. Big sports fan. Yeah. Are you liking these moves by these Detroit teams right now, by the Lions, the Pistons? You know, what you feeling like right now with the climate of Detroit sports?
Man, I'm just hoping that we put ourselves in a position to make a little noise, man. Like, I know that sports teams do so much for cities, man. They do so much for the energy of cities, and I always tell people, Like even when the Pistons won in 04, and it was just like the energy of the city at that time. Those were great times. You know what I mean? I feel like we were a lot more unified. You know, we had a lot more things to come together on. Like when your sports team's winning, you know, you coming together. We got
morale
one thing.
lifted.
No matter what you believe in, you left, you right, you blue, you red. You know, you get to come together on that, man. I feel like it do a lot to the environment. Especially when you talk about Detroit, which is one of the blackest cities in America, is the blackest city in America per capita. You know, to have a team really unify this type of energy, man, like the Pistons did. I love them Pistons, man, for that 04, man. You know, they did a lot for us during those times, man. I just feel like these, you know, whatever the decisions that, you know, these GMs make, man, I hope that they, you know, make decisions, you know, of hard-working people, because if you look at our city and you look at any rings that we got, I don't care what team you look, whether it be baseball, hockey, football, basketball, whatever, man, all of our championship teams, they were hard people. They were people with heart, and you know what I mean? So, you know, we kind of got to get back to that grit, that bad boys, you know, grit, and all of the decisions that's being made out there, man. We need the right people in this type of city, because that's the energy that we hold.
Now, what about the Lions? You talked about them Pistons. You kind of let them Lions out, man. That was on purpose.
Man, I don't blame him.
You enjoy Bell's seat right now.
Hey, Joe. Hey, look, man. Hey, I just want to see, you know, the Lions do what everybody want to see them do, man. Let's just get it together, bro. Like, please, like, whoever make decisions, just please make the right ones. You know what I mean? I don't know the decisions to make it anymore. You know, I really don't even know, man. I'm hoping that people come in with good energy and that's motivating, that's intentional about winning. And then let's see from that, man. Like, we need good leadership. You know, that starts from the top. So I believe that, you know, if the leadership change from the top and that trickles down, you know, I'm not mad at the coach that we got right now. You know, I'm not mad at the GM that we got right now. So, you know, hopefully, man, they can come together and just, I mean, cause we hurting. Like, we hurting here in the city. Like, never.
I'm going to tell you one thing. I think if the Lions win the Super Bowl, that would unite the city like that, man, in a heartbeat.
Lions win a playoff game.
This whole city, man, this whole city would be united, dog. It would be incredible to see that.
I'm telling you right now, if the let's take winning a Super Bowl out the equation. Let's take winning a playoff out the equation. If the Lions host a home playoff game, downtown Detroit is about to go
crazy.
Dumb.
Oh, we're gonna be out there like the Knicks was when they beat the Pistons for that one time. That's what
Why'd you bring that up?
Because I'm just saying, dog. Like,
we need that, man. Like that, it do so much healing for a city when your team is winning. It does a lot to the energy of the city.
And speaking of, you know, I want to go back to that 04 Pistons. He's right, because that night, first off, you couldn't. I won't say you couldn't get excited, because it was like by third quarter, the Pistons already whooped their ass, so we already knew what was about to happen. But when you got downtown, it was just like, or just you didn't even have to be downtown. You could be on 7 Mile. It was car to car, horns. Everybody in the street. You would think people would be fooling. Everybody was in their best behavior, just slapping five, just like, what? What just happened?
I ain't never seen Schoolcraft that lit in my life, dog.
It doesn't matter where you was at in Detroit. Schoolcraft, 7 Mile. I started on 7 Mile.
That's how it started.
And we ended up downtown, but I never forget, like, people was burning Laker jerseys all on 7 Mile. It was like the craziest thing you ever seen in Detroit. And it was no, like, I can't recall that night. I don't remember it being no violence. And
it was none.
It was so many people out, and it was just all love. It was all good energy. So you know, that's something that, you know, I cherish. I'm sick about 05. I always feel like I don't even want to talk about 05. Okay, let's not talk about 05.
Yeah, let's just leave that out of the equation right now.
I never cut nobody off, but that I still have PTSD from that, because just
Robert Hood.
We all sick about that.
Because that was my low. I tell everybody that is my lowest moment as a sports fan, because I knew we were not going back to San Antonio winning both.
Yeah,
one of them, but we talked about. You mentioned on the GM of the Lions, Brad Holmes. For those who don't know, Lions hired a black GM, Brad Holmes, and one thing I do want to give kudos to is I've done it before. Sheila Ford Hamp, owner of the Lions, when they asked her during the press conference about the disparity of black GMs and black head coaches, she said she I didn't like how she ended it, but I understood afterwards. She was basically like, look, we got a problem right now. It is what it is, but we as owners cannot overlook that this is a problem, that there is a lack and there's a discrepancy in the hiring of black GMs and black head coaches. And while she and the Lions organization caught a lot of flack for not hiring, an Eric Bieniemy, she did hire Brad Holmes, who then hired Ray Agnew, who's the black assistant GM. And the Lions have one of the blackest coaching staffs in the entire NFL outside of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, as far as Deuce Staley at the assistant head coach. You got Aaron Glenn at a defensive coordinator, Anthony Lynn, the OC, Aubrey Pleasant at passing game coordinator. Now, here's what I want to get to you on this part. We're going on to the NFL Rooney Rule, and I think this is the big problem with the hiring. The NFL is now rewarding teams with draft picks for minority hiring. I personally have a problem that why should a team be rewarded for hiring a black guy? How come you just can't give him a fair shot? What do you think about that?
Once again, man, let's go back to people not really listening. You know what I mean? It's you trying to understand a problem without listening. You know what I mean? It's one thing from being able to understanding and comprehension is a fine line between those things. So my thing with that is it's like how. What does that do? Like if teams at this point in 2021 can look around at all this great black talent that's everywhere, like it's not like it's a lack of it. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's everywhere. And if you can't look around and want to do that, for your organization and want to do that because you feel like, I see black people that are just as qualified, if not qualified more, to do these jobs and these positions, and I want to put them in position. If you're not doing it off of that, why need incentives? That's fake to me, because now you're talking about, wooing somebody to do something, to where they may not want to do it, but it's because you get this incentive. So it's like what, you the incentive person. When you walk in, you don't even get the respect that you should have. So, I feel like, people who truly want to make a change, want to make a difference, should listen and bring more people of color in to make better decisions. I feel like, a group of people that's in a room, it's all white folks in the room making a decision about how we about to change, our organization. Bring some black folks in. If you want to hire black folks, bring black folks in, and then let's have a conversation about how we can work together to take things to the next level, opposed to you just looking from the outside in trying to make your best decision on how you're going to be able to help a problem, to where, to me, that doesn't help anything. That's like a charity pick, like who wants to come in and be the charity, have a charity position.
Yeah, I just look at that and it's just like, when I seen that, when they was just like, you get a compensatory pick for hiring a minority like coach for a GM, I just look at it like, damn, y'all don't want to hire us that bad? Yeah. That you gotta put this out there, like.
Yeah, now with the Lions, when they hired Deuce Staley, so Deuce Staley's not going to be here that long. Mm-hmm. So now when Deuce Staley gets hired away from the Lions, they get draft picks. Mm-hmm. And I'm just thinking like, all right, does that really move the needle? Like, okay, I think the Rooney Rule. I think the fact that there has to be a Rooney Rule to begin with is a problem. The fact that the fact that they have to boost up the Rooney Rule even more because teams found a way to circumvent it. That's another problem, because dudes were just getting like, okay, we interviewed one black guy, he's out. We interviewed one Latino guy, okay, we're going to go hire who we really want to hire.
Yeah. I mean, we just put it out there. NFL tone deaf, very tone deaf. Yeah. It's just. Good old boys, I guess.
And the way that you work to fix those things realistically, if you really truly care, put yourself in those rooms and get the right people to help you make those decisions. Because if not, you turn into this. Like, what is that?
Mm-hmm. All right, man. We're gonna close this out on this one question I want to ask you, and it's about me. It's about me. It's about Ant. It's about people in our position. And it's kind of funny. Like I said, we talked about Steven Jackson. I actually got to meet him last before I followed you guys in the city. Yeah. I met him at the All-Star game, and I asked him about him and Matt Barnes' podcast and the things that they're doing. I asked him, and I asked him like, why? What made you guys do that? Was there a distrust in the media? And he said, no, it's not no distrust. It's just that, the players now, we get to tell our own story. And, we get to be the ones who put it out there. And then we get the ones to be the ones who talk about our narrative. And I respect his answer. But I'm going to be honest with you. I felt that he was holding back a little bit because I am in media. And I do see that the way black athletes are covered, especially when they mess up, they're covered a lot differently than white athletes. Yeah. And I just wanted to get your opinion before we close out. Like, what do you feel about how the black athlete is covered in media?
Well, first, shout out to my man Stack, man. That's really my brother for real, man. We've been able to bond on a lot of different levels, and especially when it comes to our people, man. One of the most authentic brothers I know, him. Big shout out to Wilson Chandler too. That's another one of my homies. And also, man, Epe, man. That's one of my great brothers, man. He support us so much. From the bottom lens a lot. He not out a lot with us because he's still overseas playing, man. But big shout out to my brother, man, because he been supporting us before anybody supported us for real, man. So big shout out to him. In regards to Stack, man, I feel like he ain't gonna never hold back. Like if that's one thing about that brother, if that's what he said. But it is a bias, man, and that's with anything. Once again, Kory, it's just like no matter what we do, if we're in an industry that's not dominated by us, it's always going to be those problems and those issues. And no matter what you want to look at or what lens you want to look at it through, having brothers like Steven Jackson and Matt Barnes, you see how they got one of the hottest podcasts now.
They're getting all of the interviews that nobody else can get because they're showing like, hey,
people want to come talk to them though, because that's their peers, and that's the important thing about it. Like, I would never be on no sports show, and I mean, like, what sports show is gonna have Zeek from New Era, Detroit come and hold a conversation? It's because that we have representation from our community who even know who Zeek is to want to bring him on. So y'all job and y'all role, man. It's so important. I say that all the time, man. Like, I commend you, brothers, man, on what y'all doing. Like,
that. Thank you.
That's why I'm a huge supporter of everything that y'all got going on, man. Because it's important, man, for the young black babies to be able to look up and see black people like them discussing, sports topics, their issues, and also the thing with sports is so synonymous with real life, so it all intertwines. So that's why you're gonna always be able to get a sports show and talk about the things that's going on in real life because it's all intertwined. And then when you're talking about fields, basketball, and football that are dominated by black athletes, that to have a perspective, from black shows, man, is very important. So, I just feel like y'all job, man, y'all doing an amazing job here, man. Y'all represent the culture, like our culture always need representation, man, that's gonna speak up and say the things that others won't say, or even be able to bring a perspective of understanding, to the table that, because you aren't entrenched in, what's going on, that I can make you understand a bit better because I'm from that way. So,
right.
It's just much respect to y'all, man. I love to see it, man. I love to see my people come up and be in positions, to where, we haven't typically dominated, and it's just important, man. So, kudos to y'all brothers.
Thanks a lot,
Appreciate
man.
that,
It was a great conversation. Glad to have you on, and hopefully this is not the last time. Gotta get you back very soon. So, hey, everybody, thank you for tuning in to Everything Is This Week. Next week, man,
you excited about that one?
Next week about to be fire. Next week we got my man from WWE, the costume designer, everybody costumes, CrossFit enthusiast. He made me change that. He's CrossFit enthusiast, gamer, Makazi, the one and only Makazi, and that's gonna be an interesting discussion as well, because I definitely gotta ask. That Hurt Business topic gonna be a That's been bugging me for a minute, man. You know,
That's a topic. Yeah,
that's a topic. Vince had to break up the Hurt Business. Brothers in suits. He couldn't stand it. But hey, thank you guys for tuning in. We gonna catch y'all next week. Thank you again, Zeke, for tuning in with us.
Appreciate you, brother.
Me, man, for real.
Appreciate you.
All right, we out.